back at night. Got the lights going again. If you can't tell from the haze in your in the screenshot here, I'm looking at these piles of new top plates and everything else, and I'm just dying to start laying these things out. I have enough milled up for one side and then some, so you know what? Hell with it. Don't have the tractor for a few days, so we're going to start laying some of these out and maybe start getting them up above and set in place, and then we can move on to the next side. So first things first, same thing we do every time we go to lay any timber out. Get your frame and square out, start checking for your reference face, your adjacent face, and all that good stuff. Remember, like I always say, reference face, this is a horizontal member, so the reference face is going to be up. Vertical member, the reference face is to the outside. So bear that in mind when you guys are getting into your own projects. You're going to learn this, so let's see if we can't get this thing laid out. And yes, tonight won't be so much time lapse. This is just a layout video. Probably won't be cutting it tonight, but I'm going to show you how we lay it out. And remember, I promised you a different type of scarf joint, and that's what you're going to get tonight. The main difference between this scarf joint and what we were doing in the past, there's no slope cuts in this. It's straight up. I don't have to lower and slide a piece in as I go like I did with the other ones. That was the big dilemma on these top plates, because I was sitting there trying to think, how am I going to do this alone? I've got to be able, if I were to do this alone, I would have to get every scarf joint in that top plate on the entire 50 feet. I'd have to get those all lined up perfectly all at once. I'd have to get them to drop down on the braces all at once. It's going to be hard enough getting 3 braces to line up in this one versus trying to do all of them all the way down. So there's 8 total. So imagine trying to get 8 braces and all the scarf joints to all line up perfectly. It's not an easy task. So we're lucky, you know, we got lucky on this one, but we got lucky to find the scarf joint. I will find the proper name for it and let you guys know. I have it in a book inside. I forget the name of it because that's just the way I am. But boy, that light is way too bright in the face, isn't it, guys? Kind of screws the camera a little bit. It's like super white guy here. We're going to lay this joint out from the top down. We're using this for our reference face. So I'm going to start taking my measurements from this here, as soon as I can find them. The light's so bright it's messing me up. Now the tenons on this are only 2 inches, so it's not bad. And they're 6 inches long. Man, this pencil's garbage. Okay, can you guys can't even see those lines, can you? Let's see if I can get this turned a little better so you guys can see it. Well, that doesn't help at all, does it? Sharpen this thing again. Alright, so this guy's going to end up being like a half lap. It's going to be like a half lap with a tenon on the top and one on the bottom. They're not full tenons, they only go halfway down. So this guy right here is going to be 5 inches deep. By 2 inches thick, 6 inches long. You guys kind of make that out there a little bit. We come down, we got our piece there, and come across, lays out kind of just like a tenon. I'm going to come down here, I'm just going to square my end. I'm going to measure down my center point here. It's 5 inches. I'm going to come down here and we're going to do the same off of this mark. Alright, so we got the top of the top half laid out. We're going to measure down. I've got the end of it laid out. We're going to have to cut that off fairly soon. I'm going to come down. I can see it. Come down, square my line off of the reference face. I'm going to put a mark at our midpoint. I'm going to come up here where the tenon begins. We're not going to go to the end of the tenon. We want to keep it back here. That's actually like a, that's an open face mortise really, if you want to get technical about it on that side. But over here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come down to 5 inches. Now what I want to do with my layout tape, I want to double check this. I want to make sure that my framing square is on where it's supposed to be. I want to make sure that is exactly 5 inches. And that is 5 inches. It's 5 inches. So now we should be yeah, 30 inches. So 30 inches from the very end to the beginning of that mortise. On the bottom side we're going to have a tenon. Now let's grab my handy dandy 4-foot level here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect the dots. It would be easier if I turned it over and did this. You guys know how I feel about doing things the easy way. Now, another thing to think about when you're laying stuff out, take my advice. Try never to go past your lines. If you got two corners that are going to meet where you're laying out, draw to that point. Don't carry them through, because what's going to happen, and I can tell you because I've done it, and this goes for any kind of carpentry you're doing. When you carry that through, that line through, a lot of times you have a tendency to keep going with the saw, and then you're going to piss yourself off. But just a little something you guys probably all know, but just a little bit of how I do things. Now for the end here, we want to step it back 6 inches. This is going to lay out the shoulder of our tenon on the underside. Remember, you want to X out your waist. So this is waist. This up here is all waist. This one may get a little lengthy, guys, but I want to make sure we get the information covered good. Take you to the other side. Five inches. Again, 5 inches. We're going to come back 6. So we'll draw our line first, make it easier. Oop. Remember, guys, this is waste. This is waste. Alright, so we rolled it over. And all I want to do now is I want to connect my lines, both sides here. Tell you what, when you can lay your square down, you can get your lines to meet up on that fourth side. That's when you did a good job milling your logs. You remember I said we've got a 10 in here. I like that. I'm going to come to 4 inches. Go to 6 inches. Measure across. I want to double check it from this side because this is the side my reference face is on. It's pretty good. Helps if you put all your marks down. Exit out, and there we have it. There's no wedges, there's no fancy shit, it's a real straight up joint. Alright, here's the underside. You can see how we have a 10 in there. Here's the top side. So you've got an open mortise right here. And from a side angle, you guys kind of get the idea what it's doing there. And have that open mortise there. And you're going to come down. All that spot that's X'd out, that's going to be gone. Then we have the shoulder of our tenon laid out right there. The tenon for the that's going to receive the piece after it. So that's her. Well, there's another one laid out, guys. So kind of hard to show you guys a good layout video with the lighting. It's good lighting for most things. It's great task lighting for what I'm doing, but it certainly doesn't do much for you guys with the camera when you get that big white spot in the middle of the screen. I'm kind of hoping you guys got the gist of it. It'll make a lot more sense when we cut the joint. We'll probably do that tomorrow night. So anyhow, I hope you guys are enjoying this. Stick around, stay tuned. We have a lot more coming up. If you guys are enjoying these, you want to help the channel out, share the videos if you're able to, if you'd like to. Up to you guys. You're certainly not obligated to do anything except for sit back and enjoy the content. But if you care to, feel free to share these wherever you feel it necessary. So with that said, I'm going to go in and edit this thing. And to Car Crusher's question, I just saw it pop up as I sat here to turn the camera on. I went to respond to you, but for some reason it won't go through. You asked why the change, why I turned that one log over 180 degrees instead of the typical 90 degrees that I normally do. I did that out of pure laziness, and it ended up being a mistake because out of everything I milled yesterday, it's the only one that got out of square on me. I don't know why the mill does that. I know it's human error, but it's the only one that did. So I turned it 180 degrees thinking that I could get more 1x10 material that I wouldn't have to edge out of it. And I did, but it created another problem, which I said earlier. It's actually a really good opportunity to show you guys how square rule framing works when your timbers aren't perfect, because that's the whole idea. So anyhow, you guys have a good evening. This was a little bit of a long one, so I will catch you on the next one.